A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, it is a time of dread. Seers have foretold the birth of a child who will bring about the downfall of the powerful queen Bavmorda. Seizing all pregnant women in the realm, the evil queen vows to destroy the child when it is born. Willow contains depictions of fantasy, violence, and excessive amounts of child endangerment, as well as a good bit of body horror. Please proceed according to your needs and comfort level. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. The views expressed therein are solely those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of their employers. Hello there, and welcome back to 6 Degrees of Star Wars, the podcast where we explore all the ways George Lucas's flagship franchise surrounds us, binds us, and penetrates us in the landscape of cinema. I'm your host, Sam Marchioni. Joining me today is Connor Duffy.
I am the greatest swordsman in the world.
And Jen Seggio.
You're all pigs.
I'm a wild pig.
So, in its infinite wisdom, about 2 years after we talked about its sequel series, the Chance Cube has decided to have us talk about the 1988 Lucasfilm cult classic, Willow. As it is a brainchild of George Lucas, it counts as a Degree 1, but it was actually directed by Ron Howard. George Lucas only really has a story credit, and it was Warwick Davis's first starring role when he was still, 17, which is really freaking impressive. So, longtime listeners of this show know that I have a deep and abiding affection for the Willow TV series, and that actually comes from me seeing the series before I saw the movie. And correct me if I'm wrong, this was the first time for at least one of you, correct?
I actually saw this kind of around the time I actually got my Disney Plus subscription. And it's been on my to-watch list for a while, so I finally watched it one day when I was house sitting for my sister, and I really liked it. I feel like if I had seen this as a kid, it would have been like one of my favorite movies. Something about just really got me. It's got so many things I like.
I did see this as a kid and very much loved it. And I am an old head, so I remember all of the tie-in promo material for it, especially, I think it might have been Weetabix, the cereal. You could, those reusable stickers that kids have, where, you can peel and reapply stickers to like a plastic backing or what have you. There was a promo for several weeks where you could cut off the background from specific scenes of the movie on the back of these cereal boxes, and each week you'd get a new sticker. So you'd have a little sticker of Willow and one of Madmartigan and one of maybe one of the villains of the piece, and you could put together your own little scenes. I am old enough to remember that, and I am old enough to remember watching Willow as a child. In the pre-Lord of the Rings days, you took whatever fantasy movies you could find. So Willow, Dragon Slayer, Legend, Labyrinth.
This very much feels like a staple of 80s fantasy. I kind of call it baby's first 80s fantasy movie because I feel like it really would appeal a lot to kids, especially. And I mean that in a good way.
Baby's first fantasy, baby's first nightmare fuel. God, some of the visual effects in this are incredible and also horrifying. I think the first time I ever saw the pig scene, I was legit scared. And I was in my 20s at that point.
Oof, yeah. I think what got me was when the Ebersis monster, the two-headed dragon thing evolves. It looks like something from John Carpenter's The Thing. The PG movie.
Yeah, watching it, the troll basically get turned inside out, and then it turns into that two-headed monster. And even the opening scenes where you have the Nockmar hounds, those dogs dressed up to look like just beasts from the netherworld.
Those are Rottweilers in rubber costumes, but the first thing I saw, I was like, those are just rodents of unusual size. And then lo and behold, I find out this movie has the same cinematographer as The Princess Bride.
Oh, that makes so much sense now. Oh, the fight scenes and the traveling and that does. And I mean, there's also little other references to classic fantasy films too as well. There's a scene where you see the little people walking across a log bridge over a cavern, and it looks like an homage to Snow White with the dwarves walking home singing Hi-Ho. Looks almost exactly like that.
Yeah.
There are some really beautifully shot scenes. The cinematography is wonderful, very much of its time, like very 80s fantasy, but like they took full advantage of the location shooting. I think they shot in New Zealand.
Actually, it was mostly Wales. They did do some shooting in New Zealand, but it was mostly Wales. But, you know, I can see why the New Zealand stuff would stick in your mind, because there's absolutely some energy of this was the predecessor to Lord of the Rings.
Absolutely. There's a great mix of both on-location shooting and some beautiful matte paintings that mostly mesh together very well. Has an almost Greg Hildebrandt look to it.
And all of the creatures and stuff had Phil Tippett working on them. Like, they were up for the Oscar this year, and the big problem is that they were up against Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Like, if you're gonna lose to anything for best visual effects,
it's hard to argue with that. Yeah, like if you're gonna lose, you might as well lose to the best.
God, I love so much about this movie. I love Warwick Davis in this so much. Apparently, even George Lucas was mad that Warwick didn't get top billing, because this was like his first movie role, and Val Kilmer was like the on the marquee name to get butts into seats. And to be fair, Val Kilmer is one of the most memorable things about this movie. Like, he is having as much fun with Madmartigan as Harrison Ford does not have playing Han Solo.
Yeah, I love Warwick Davis, I love Willow, but Madmartigan steals every scene he's in.
It's prime Val Kilmer, prime 80s Val Kilmer, like just looking super handsome with the long hair, all disheveled, as charming as he's ever been in any movie. And yeah, absolutely up for anything. Like, absolutely buys in and does not treat the material as something beneath him. He is having so much fun playing this scoundrel, this rogue, and he and Warwick Davis play off each other really well too. Like, they make a really good double act.
And great chemistry there. I used to not really understand the appeal of Val Kilmer. The only things I had seen beforehand was Prince of Egypt, where he plays Moses and does a very good job with it. And Batman Forever, which it didn't really leave that great an impression on me. But seeing him here is like, I get it now. Oh my God, he's amazing. Rest in peace, man.
Yeah, fucked up that they're trying to, like, AI replicate him in a movie now. Like, what the fuck, my dudes? But this whole cast is just having a good time. I swear to God, I thought she was Angelica Houston the first time I saw her, but I love Jean Marsh as Queen Bavmorda. She is just having so much fun.
She's made a name for herself playing evil witches in 80s fantasy movies. First Mombi and now Bavmorda.
Yeah, she's having great fun, especially at the end there when she turns all of our heroes into pigs, and she just gets to gets to do a real proper evil laugh, like really gets to evil laugh it up. It's exactly what you want to do when you're taking a role like that.
Plus an old lady fight.
Yes,
old lady fight. I
wrote down granny magic fight. Yeah, she's channeling like both Maleficent and Snow White's evil queen, even the way she's looks, because she has the fancy robes and the cowl, but the way her crowns make it look like she has horns. And so you just look at it and know, she's the bad guy.
Her performance is kind of like just the right side of camp, I think. The movie doesn't take itself super seriously, but at the same time, like it has that dark edge about it. So she's able to walk that tightrope of exploring the campiness, bringing that, but also remaining like a serious threat. And yeah, like, you know, granny fight at the end is a lot of fun. You're just watching her kind of become more disheveled and desperate. You
even notice in her face, like the ritual's going on, you can see her slowly like aging, getting older throughout. That's a really cool touch.
It does, I think, help to raise the stakes of the evil when the thing the evil is doing is targeting the world's most adorable baby. I love Elora Danan so much. I love all the little babies that they got to play her. There's like 4 or 5 credited babies for Elora Danan, and they all are so sassy and so cute.
So many pretty babies.
I know. Apparently shooting took so long that they had to kind of keep finding a new baby around like the same age or whatever. But yeah, I can't really tell for the most part. I don't know, I guess a lot of babies look the same to me, but she looks adorable.
Just best little baby with some of the best little reaction shots that you have to imagine took forever because they couldn't CGI a grumpy baby face.
It's interesting to it's an appropriate time of year to have a good Moses story, you know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Good Moses reference there at the beginning.
Foreshadowing is a literary device, Val Kilmer.
George Lucas said, why keep cribbing mythology for sci-fi films? Let's just do it for straight-up fantasy, too.
It's what George loves. It's what he does best.
I mean, you could take a shot for every time in the movie that kind of harkens to something from Star Wars. And I don't know if you could make it without getting blackout drunk, but still, it's still great.
I mean, George is a big fan of the whole hero's journey. He's a big fan of Kurosawa, and I don't fault him for reusing the stuff that he loves.
If you're gonna steal from the best.
It's also really interesting to see moments when he's kind of like spinning his wheels on the world building, like just the continued insistence of using the word peck. Like everybody in this universe just has such beef with the Nelwyn. Even the fucking little brownies with their French accents who drive me insane.
Heard Madmartigan repeatedly call Willow a peck, and I'm like, actually, sorry, Madmartigan, you're not actually allowed to say that word. Only other Nelwyn can say that word. So,
but not Burglecut. We have revoked that privilege from Burglecut.
No, fuck Burglecut. All my homies hate Burglecut. But yeah, years ago, my girlfriend actually did a bridge parody of Little Witch Academia. And I forget the name of like the bully character in the series. She kept calling the main character Peck. And then I watched this movie. It's like, oh, that's where that's from. It turns out Willow's one of her favorite movies. So
excellent taste. Also, like, just Willow's kids are adorable. They are so cute. Like, people give shit to child actors, but those kids were doing a great job.
Yeah. His kids are adorable, and the actress who plays his wife, like, is it Patricia or Hayes? Is it Raziel is his wife?
No, Kaya is his wife. Raziel is the sorceress who was a possum and then a bird and then another bird and a tiger and a goat
and a turtle and a peacock and like
Willow's having some trouble
in between.
Yes, Kaya. Julie Peters is her name. They were just so adorable together. Like when Willow's getting ready to leave, and she's like, "We've never been apart before." I'm like, "Oh,
oh."
And it's the way she gives him her braid. This you can feel like just the significance of that. Just the real one with the stakes really start to rise up.
Yeah.
Because unlike a lot of, heroes in this kind of story, he doesn't find a love interest on the way. He's already married. He has a family. He has some, people to return home to. So that's one thing that kind of sets Willow apart from a lot of traditional heroes. I tend to look at it as like, what if Bilbo Baggins wanted to be Gandalf? If we're going back to Lord of the Rings like that, because his goal here is to become a magician and to learn magic. But he is happy with his life, here and not the Shire. I forget the name of where they are.
I don't think his home has a name. I think it's just like the Nelwyn town, but...
Yeah, the little area where they live. It does give me like Hobbiton vibes.
And it has a very fun Billy Barty.
Yeah.
I love the High Aldwyn. He's such a troll.
The High Aldwyn is great. He is.
He's great.
He had a fun appearance, and I recognized a couple of other little actors in that scene from a lot of different things. R2-D2 himself, Kenny Baker, had a cameo.
Yeah, and this was something like the largest casting call that ever went out for little people actors, and there was something like 220 or 240 of them, which was practically unheard of for studios films and is still kind of unheard of.
Probably the most since Wizard of Oz, probably,
Yeah.
So yeah, these are all little people. I know some people might feel this movie hasn't aged well with how they depict little people. Like, look at what Peter Dinklage says about casting them in the roles of fantasy, in fantasy movies, basically playing other creatures as opposed to other humans. But I feel like this goes a long way in help. I wrote this whole thing down. I'm sorry. Like, I'm having a word salad moment.
No, it's fair. And, Peter Dinklage has every reason to have the opinions that he has, but there are also, other dwarf actors who have pushed back on Peter Dinklage, and, we can do stuff within this world. And, I think Warwick Davis is a great example of this because, yes, Willow exists in a magical world, but Willow is not solely defined by being a little person. You could very easily eliminate that part of Willow's story and it would still be compelling.
Exactly. And I'm looking over my notes here, and unlike, in the past, a lot of the little people in this movie aren't treated as caricatures or jokes. They are given, more, again, personality traits and treated very seriously. And so we might grimace looking back at it now, but it's really an important step forward for this kind of diverse casting.
I think the fact that Warwick Davis is a little person, and the fact that Willow, they're called Nelwyn in this world. I think it's important that he is actually a little person, because it's again that idea that heroism and what a hero is does not have to fit one particular mold. We don't have to stick with the stereotype of what we consider a hero to be. Madmartigan is who you would imagine a hero to be, but he has to go through the journey of remembering to be a better person. Whereas when we meet Willow is already a hero because he faces his fears and still pushes on through despite the overwhelming odds against him, both just in terms of how little power he has and then his physical limitations in a world of people who are 4 times taller than he is. I think it's very good, it's important representation. I think coming from my able-bodied perspective.
And going back to what I said about, kids liking this, I can see a lot of kids latching on to Willow himself, how he represents how small and powerless the grown-up world can make you feel, but how anyone can, pull themselves through sheer determination and courage and trying to be a good person.
And that's one of the things I really like about the whole finger test thing is, that's a great message for kids about, yeah, you can trust your instincts. You are smarter than you think you are. Don't let the naysayers fuck up your brain by making you doubt that you have this kind of power. I also just, we've kind of been dancing around one of the main characters, Sorsha.
Oh, yeah.
I also really appreciate what Sorsha is because, for lack of another term, she is the female lead of this movie, and they don't, try to make her super sexy evil. She's in practical armor. She is a competent fighter. She never, gets turned into sexy trophy what needs to be rescued.
She doesn't, yeah.
I think her character is a little bit underwritten in places, but goddamn if I don't love the scene where Madmartigan gets hit with the dust of the broken heart.
That is a funny
so silly.
Girl receives affection from a man for the first time ever and just immediately falls in love with him. It's sheltered daughter of the evil overlord meets one handsome dude who says, I like you, and it's all over. Tale as old as time.
No. He didn't say I like you. He said, you are my sun, my moon, my starlit sky. I dwell in darkness without you. He said, death next to love is a trivial thing.
And she tries to stab him and do something, kick his ass around, and he shrugs it off. But it's not until she actually sees him fighting later on that she does start falling in love with him. Oh wow, he's good with her, and he can kick.
I wonder what else he can do with his body.
Yeah, her turnaround is kind of abrupt, but that's because there's a deleted scene that they unfortunately cut, where she discovers at the castle where they have the big battle, she finds her father, who was the original king of the land, frozen in stone by her mother, Bavmorda, and she realizes, wait, the woman who wants to kill a baby and has her lieutenant dress up like Skeletor is actually evil all along?
Are we the baddies, Mum?
Yeah, there are a few points in the movie that feel a little disjointed that way. Sometimes you can tell when a studio is like, hey, this movie's got to be 2 hours, so you got to cut it down to 2. And it is like 2 hours, 1 minute, something like that.
It's just under
2 hours and 5.
Just a little,
2 hours,
a little over. Or...
including credits.
Yeah, or in the case of some scenes, it's like, yeah, we tried, but the effects aren't there yet. Give it another 20 years. But we're just going to have to cut it for now. Sorry.
I think if we were going to cut anything, we could have cut down on the brownies just a teeny bit.
Maybe, but they still...
They stole a baby.
They are very funny, but there are just some moments when the shtick goes a little too long. That being said, I do love that when Bavmorda turns everyone into pigs, even the brownies are pigs.
Yeah.
They're little piglets.
0 out of 10, though. None of them told me that my mother was a hamster and my father smelt of elderberries.
And not once did they say, your mother is a frickin' aardvark. Even though at one point they were insulting their mother.
Also, like, is the love dust no homo? Because Madmartigan looks at people who are not Sorsha when he gets hit with the love dust at first, but he doesn't fall in love with them. But
maybe
the brownie who gets hit with the love dust falls in love with a cat. So maybe it's that it only works on people you would already be attracted to?
Yeah, maybe it just works with your orientation.
Yeah, it says a lot more about that brownie's preferences than Madmartigan's, really.
Well, the funny thing about brownies in real mythology is, like, they're more creature-like, a little more kind of like closer to elves or some kind of little beast or house demon or something, more than just like these little Lilliputian guys. So who knows? Maybe the whole being into feline things is kind of like harking towards that.
Maybe.
Madmartigan was feeling a lot of bro love in the cage, and then a lot of lady love in the tent. So,
and then he was like, "You know what, Willow? We're going sledding, and I'm gonna get rolled up in a giant snowball."
It kind of turned into Temple of Doom there for a moment with them sledding, but I loved it.
What a weird choice there.
And the whole snowball thing is like total Looney Tunes chaos. I love it.
Honestly, it's very much like a D&D campaign.
That's what I was thinking. The scene where, like, after they get captured by the brownies and then the queen comes along and explains to who Elora Danan is and all that, feels like a moment in a D&D campaign where the DM has to kind of like pause everything and try to get the quest back on track so it doesn't stop after one round of playing.
DM behind the DM screen, like frantically trying to reorganize their notes when when the player playing Willow just hands the character playing Madmartigan the baby, and then just looks at the DM and goes, "Well, it's what my character would do."
Okay, you know what? Fuck you. There's a brownie. The brownie has stolen a baby, and you're not finding Madmartigan again until you go to a tavern where he's dressing in drag to try and hide from an angry husband.
I swear
that is a
God.
Lovely shade of pink on Val Kilmer.
It is very nice shade of pink on Val Kilmer.
Yeah, Madmartigan rolls a 1 on deception in the end, and yeah, he gets discovered.
No, he was rolling pretty good on deception.
Oh yeah,
at first.
pretty high at first, but in the end, when he tries to deceive Sorsha, he rolls a natural 1. He gets exposed to everyone.
Yeah, Madmartigan is definitely a high charisma fighter.
Probably has a level or 2 in Rogue or Bard.
Might be a bit of a min-max player. I don't know.
Yeah, the player's dice luck is just really hot and cold. So sometimes he's like it hits when it counts, but then he'll say, and then I do a cool flashy move where I twist the sword around. Okay, give me an acrobatics check. 9. You fall on your ass. But until then, it was very impressive.
I mean, he's still in drag when they're doing the chase with the wagons. He's still fighting kicking ass. So yeah, he's still awesome.
A lot
he
of
keeps
really
that
great action.
Dress on for like a really long time. Like even after he runs off from the lake and then the soldiers come back with him, he's still got the little pink skirt.
He does. He kind of like folds the skirt around to make kind of like a makeshift pants.
The man appreciates good tailoring. I mean, there are a lot of really great action sequences in the movie, like the cart chase is really great. Like the attack on the castle and for whatever reason that catapult facing into the castle rather than out. But don't think too hard about it. It gives him a chance to fly up onto a bridge. It's cool. There's some really, really like well choreographed action in the whole movie, like from start to finish.
Like a lot of stuff with the horses.
The horses are great. Some fantastic, like just the swordplay is really, really good. Sometimes you get some of these 80s fantasy movies and no one has any idea what they're doing. But here, some training was put in place. And kind of fun watching Val Kilmer like dual wield with like the punching blade and then his regular longsword. It's just great stuff.
Also, like, can we talk about the level of petty on some of the stuff? Because the big bad General Kale, the number one enforcer dude, he is named after film critic Pauline Kael.
The one critic who
two-headed dragon, the Ebersisk, is named after Siskel and Ebert. Like, after the fact. They did not have a name for it in the script at first, but then Siskel and Ebert didn't like the movie, and so they just called it the Ebersisk.
I was wondering if that came before or after the movie, because I know Siskel considered it one of the top 10 worst movies of that year. So I wasn't sure if the name influenced that or vice versa.
Amazing.
But yeah, that's such a kind of a weird thing to do, because Kale, I get. She was the one person who didn't like Star Wars. I think her review is the reason why it's only like 99% on Rotten Tomatoes as opposed to 100. But Ebert and Siskel liked everything that George Lucas did for a long time. So it's kind of funny that he would just go in and say, screw you guys too.
It's one of those funny
thing
things
is, Pauline Kael gave Willow a negative review, but she's like flattered and amused that they named the general after her.
Well, okay, good sense of humor there at least.
Didn't Siskel and Ebert get or representatives of Siskel and Ebert, like characters kind of reference him? I want to say they also got eaten or squashed in the American Godzilla movie.
Yeah, they had characters representing them, but they didn't. Nothing happened to them, and Ebert called him out on it. If you're gonna name a terrible character after us, why don't you have the monster eat us or squash us?
Yeah,
his words.
Roland, this is not a safe space for Roland Emmerich.
Oh.
Good. Roland Emmerich doesn't deserve a safe space.
No, he doesn't. Also, kind of circling back a little bit to the whole diversity of it all, thank fuck they went with calling this movie Willow, because originally they were going to call it Munchkins.
Oh, yeah.
George Lucas!
And it's not even tied to Wizard of Oz either, so come on, George.
Every so often, George has a great idea, and then he has 5 bad ones.
That's his career in a nutshell.
Yeah. If anyone should have known about avoiding sticky intellectual property issues, it should be George Lucas.
I mean, at that point, he was kind of riding high on I've made the greatest film trilogy movie success blockbuster of all time. What's anybody gonna do? Tell me no?
Oh, if only more people did do that.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't have time to get into all that.
Best saved for another episode.
Yeah.
But can we take a moment to appreciate James Horner's score for this movie, because he knocks it out of the park as usual. God rest his soul.
It is a great score. I feel like it is just a teeny tiny bit reliant on that one single leitmotif of...
I know he didn't do the score for The Rescuers Down Under, that was Bruce Bowden, but it sounds very similar to the leitmotif from that movie.
It does get stuck in your head.
It really does sound like an adventure theme.
It would soundtrack a decade's worth of trailers for adventure movies afterwards. You heard that music for quite a lot in every action adventure movie to follow.
It's like the fantasy version of the Indiana Jones theme. And to James Horner's credit, like, it has to be really intimidating to be like, shit, I am working on a Lucasfilm project and I am not John Williams. I have to step the fuck up.
Well, by this point, he also did, like, American Tail and Land Before Time. Those were both produced by Steven Spielberg. So, yeah, I think he's, I don't know, he had a good thing going with, these big names at the time, too, as daunting as they may be. And he created some wonderful themes for that. And really, a lot of the movies he's touched, as, like, in the 90s, he kind of got stuck doing a lot of not so great kids movies like The Pagemaster or We're Back. And yet the scores for them are, like, one of the redeeming factors. I still listen to them all the time.
He does have an Oscar for the score to Titanic. So thank him or hate him for My Heart Will Go On, but he writes bangers.
He does. I will admit, hearing the opening notes to this movie, that little choir going, ooh, it's very similar to what you hear in the opening of The Pagemaster, almost the exact same. So I'm not I'm not insulting in any way, because composers tend to reuse their own themes a lot. Even John Williams is guilty of that. It's just kind of a fun thing I noticed.
I'm looking back over my notes and, like, there is a good portion of them that is just the baby. Just loving that frickin' baby. Giving the baby props when it spits up on Burglecut. Giving the baby accolades for its reactions. Talking about how the baby doesn't like being in the bondage onesie.
I mean, that's one way to make the baby
how long did that fucking ritual take that they had time to unpig all the pigs and build those holes in the dirt to hide all the horses?
That's what I'm thinking. Even as cool as that moment is, where the battlefield looks totally abandoned, and then they jump out of the ground and charge the castle, you had to kind of stretch your limits of disbelief for a moment. You have to imagine that, like, okay, everyone in the castle was helping out with this ritual. No one was on guard duty or watching them, or so busy they didn't hear anything going on outside.
Finn Raziel basically being like, all right, bring them in one by one. Let's change these pigs back into humans. Like, all right, one down.
And we can all somehow fit in one tent.
We're all going to fit in one tent. It's a little TARDIS tent. And
99 pigs, we have to change back. 99 pigs, we have to change. It turned one back to human again. 98 pigs, we have to change back.
All right, you extras, you're on hole digging duty. You all, people with names and who are going to be in the credits, let's sit down and figure out what we're going to do next. And what we're going to do next is we're just going to do what we were going to do anyway, except now we've hidden all the horses and soldiers.
Incredible.
Sometimes you just have to suspend your disbelief.
I have here, best pickup line of the year. Want to breed?
Tempting, but no. See, that's a nat 20 deception check right there. He blew it on that when he needed to be like, yes, this is my baby that I gave birth to. Definitely. Another one of my favorites is, nobody better fall in love with that baby. And I said, too late, motherfucker.
I know, you're just going to turn into a bird, and then the brownies are going to use you to kidnap the baby, and now she'll be your own.
It's too late. The baby has named you. She is super attached. She's not letting you go.
Funny that the brownies can understand her, and she can actually talk to them, and you find out that, she's a sassy baby through them. You have to imagine she's talking to them through kind of like Rugrat speak, where they're the only ones who can understand her, and no one else can because they're adults.
Or Doctor Who logic of, call me Stormageddon, Dark Lord of all. I love Charlindria's wand so much. I actually have a version of it that is hidden somewhere in my room because I'm terrified to break it. It is made of resin, so it is delicate.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's a really nice design, for a wand. Something that, looks so natural and at the same time has that strange fairy-like
like a natural sort of quirk to it. Like, you could tell this, at one point, this was a tree branch that was fashioned into something, really nicely, but not like in the ultra finesse way, like a Harry Potter wand.
It's imbued with something older than the tree itself, but something tapped into, like that wonderful idea that, like, just as the magic was inside Willow literally all along, the wand represents how the magic is kind of innate to the world in which they live.
Yeah,
the bloodstream of the universe.
Says that magic is the lifeblood of the universe.
Which makes it really funny when Bavmorda does that whole hoist by her own petard thing of like, ha, I have won, I am waving the wand around. Oh no, the lightning has struck me and I am getting sucked off into the hell dimension. I mean, it wasn't exactly like that, but still.
Yeah. I think there's like something in the evil overlord rules. I will not gloat at the moment of my success or something like that. But yeah, I do love how in the very beginning of the movie, the disappearing pig trick has a payoff at the end.
Still not entirely sure how he made her disappear, because like the whole thing about the disappearing pig trick is that there's a trap door under the stage where the pig goes.
Yeah, but I think he kind of like looks like he's throwing it over his shoulder or his head when he does it, so maybe he just kind of like dumped her, behind there. The whole thing is supposed to be very sleight of hand, like very stage magic. And it's a talent that he's actually pretty good at. And again, it's all about how the power is within you and playing to your strengths. And it might not be actual magic, but it's something he's great at.
A part of me was kind of hoping that it had been like actual magic, because this would be like the moment where, like, because he put all of his heart and soul into it because he wanted to protect Elora that much, like the magic responded to it. But it does also work for him to have just been that clever and resourceful.
I think the way it plays well to the character. Like, as you say, like it plays to his strengths. It has a bit of a Chekhov's gun element about it. Like we know that this is something that he's able to do, and in the moment when he most needs to pull off, he tries it and then he failed, and so now he needs to try it again, and he really needs to succeed this time, and this time he gets it, and it's
again, it's like poetry, so if they rhyme.
It's also really funny to notice when they are definitely not using a baby. Like, there are times when they clearly have, like, an animatronic or a ragdoll or something, because you can tell the little baby's head is, like, flopping back and forth. I'm like, that's a dead baby. If that were a real baby, that baby would be dead. You have broken its teeny tiny squishy little skull.
Kick the baby.
Elora Danan does her impression of David Crusoe's career.
It's also like really interesting when, the world building is kind of, it's doing that thing of like fill in the blank noodle instances kind of thing, mostly in regards to Eric, whose name is spelled A-I-R-K, but they just pronounce it Eric. Which is some white people naming shit if ever I have heard it. But, like, you can still get the broad outlines of what he and Madmartigan were to each other beforehand, and you get, like, this long-standing dynamic, even though they had to, like, cut the backstory and stuff. And it's just enough to care about Eric when he dies and be like, yeah, okay, I can see why Sorsha and Madmartigan might name their kid after him in sequel series that is going to be made 30 years from now and then get unceremoniously pulled off Disney Plus after only 6 months.
Ugh, I know, that pissed me off, too. Because the thing with, Willow the movie was, if it was going to be successful, as successful as George hoped, they were going to make it a trilogy, like Star Wars. We never got that. We finally got the sequel series, and I really liked it too, and I was really excited to see where it might go from here. And then, I'm not kidding. Like, I think a week after I finally watched it, it came off Disney Plus.
There was actually an attempt in between the movie and the show. George Lucas, he basically ended up having to give an outline to Chris Claremont for the most part, because he got preoccupied with making the prequels. But there is a trilogy of books called, Chronicles of the Shadow War, which ended up being like kind of dark and edgy, grimdark type stuff, to the point where George Lucas actually disavowed it. Like, no, that's not what happened to Willow and Elora Danan. No.
So it's like we're not doing the Star Wars EU then. Yeah, it just...
Not all the way to the EU, but we cannot get into the EU or I will have an aneurysm.
Okay, I'm sorry. Subject withdrawn.
No, it's not your fault. It's just, I hear the name Mara Jade now and something inside me breaks irrevocably, because I'm like, if they gave you Mara Jade, you'd still find some fucking reason to complain about it.
Oh, they
Like,
absolutely would.
she's not exactly the way Timothy Zahn writes her. She doesn't look the way I imagined her. Shut up, I'm gonna name a monster after you in my fantasy series.
Damn Star Wars fans, they ruined Star Wars.
Exactly.
Say what you want about George Lucas and his creative decisions or lack thereof, but sometimes it's good to have one person who goes, you don't know what you like. You like what I tell you to like, and I make the decisions on how this story is going to go. And I'm not going to be changing it because some internet jerk-offs dogpiled one of my actors.
Yeah.
I mean, much as I, respect what George has given us, everything that happened to him has really taught me that the idea of, the auteur theory, the great man myth is just a myth. Something like this, it's supposed to be a collaborative process. And if you just got one person calling all the shots, most of the time they'll end up calling all the wrong shots. Just got to let go of your ego and be able to work with other people. And that's the only way you can really come together and make something great.
I think it's important to look at that. Film is a collaborative medium. I think it is also important, though, to have a very clear artistic vision. And it may not work out. Sometimes it doesn't at all. Sometimes it really does. Sometimes you need people who are able to take your ideas and help you mold them into something great. But I think in this sad day and age, we're seeing a little bit too much willingness to compromise because certain elements who are very, very loud make all the noise, and it affects the art that results. It is too compromised. It becomes too flat, too safe.
Yeah.
One thing you can say about Willow as a movie is that it decided to put a 17-year-old Warwick Davis in the central role, in the title role of this movie. He may not have gotten top billing, but his character is the character that moves this movie along. His choices are the choices that matter the most ultimately. And he is the one who finally defeats the main villain through his own talent and bravery and skill. And he is also a man with a very, he is a man with a very clear physical disability. He has also thrived in real life. He has had a long and storied career as an actor. And in this movie, he is not necessarily portraying a little person, but he is portraying someone that the rest of the planet, the rest of that world in which he exists, looks down upon, and yet proves himself to be as worthy as anyone else in that film, and is worthy of their respect, and is ultimately a hero. And I think if you were trying to, I don't know if that movie gets made today, where you have someone go, no, we're going to put this actor in this role, and they're going to nail it, and they're going to be great, and it's going to be important to people who watch it. It will inspire people, and it will entertain people. And the most annoying people on the planet are just going to have to sit there and do one of two things: nothing and like it.
God,
Thank you for coming to my TED
wish.
Talk.
Amen.
I would really like to live in that world again, but, we are in the age where movies are, to paraphrase our dear friend of the pod, Ellie, either made with $15,000 in a ham sandwich or $100 million and studio interference. And nothing really in between, which sucks because I do know that Warwick Davis has continued to kind of, at least a little bit, pester Disney about, like, hey, you kind of screwed us out of residuals. Hey, you didn't give people a chance to come in and actually like this show. Hey!
Yeah.
Hey!
Yeah,
hey!
I know.
As well he should.
He's really passionate about the character and Will in general, and he should be. He again, what Connor said, he carries the movie. He does a great job acting, and it's also very personal to him too. He not only met his wife on set, and if you listen to the audio commentary for it, if you're lucky to have the Blu-ray, it's one of the best commentaries ever, from what I've heard. He goes into depth in so many things about how the film is made that you don't, that you can't otherwise get.
And there's so much other cool stuff in this. Like, Val Kilmer and Joanne Whalley did fall in love and get married after this movie. They ended up separating and divorcing, but I do love when movies tap into something super real for people who are playing love interests. And I also, like, not to make myself sad thinking about the series, but eventually when the series happened, the grown-up Mims was played by Warwick's daughter Annabelle, and she was so good. She was so freaking good.
Oh, that's beautiful. Just, how coming together to create a piece of art actually, results in a real legacy. Not just like the legacy of the film, but like, in love, family, and like that.
But we can't have nice things.
Well, they needed to free up that hard drive space. We got
we got to make at least 3 more Descendants movies.
Oh, don't. I that's for another day. That's for another day.
But yeah, like this, disparity between how films are made now. It's, these trends of how the studios and things are run, it's a pendulum. Right now, it's swung one way. I'm slowly starting it, begin to swing another way. Like how we talked about the last time I was on with Sinners, about how that was made, and the big life-changing deal that was struck. Yeah. And with Sinners now having won 4 of its very deserved Oscars, I say there's a good chance that. Yeah, I know. I would love if it got everything. Sadly, we don't live in that world, but it's. I remain optimistic that, sooner or later, things might get to a different place than they are now. You gotta have that hope.
And of course, I would never advocate that anybody ever do anything illegal like piracy, but, I am glad that there is still a small contingent of Willow fans out there who do try to keep this work alive and do engage with it and have that kind of fun. And I hope that, this legacy does get to continue. I hope that Warwick and Annabelle Davis get to be part of this magical thing for a very long time. And I hope that all the other actors who have been associated with this are remembered fondly for it.
Absolutely. I know. It can be a reminder of what we've lost, but what we can maybe strive to be.
In the words of MS Mystery Science Theater 3000, keep circulating the tapes. It's art deserves to be seen by as many people as possible. And
if you're going to write something off for taxes, then we, the public, should get to have them.
We should get to see it.
As far as I'm concerned, if it's written off and disappeared for quote unquote tax purposes, it's fair game.
We essentially paid for it.
Yeah, we're not suggesting anything, of course, obviously, untoward, but we're simply saying that art deserves to be seen.
Pay your actors, pay your writers, and for God's sakes, don't try to prevent a prophecy about a baby coming to destroy you, because that's how you get destroyed. Evil overlords list. Come on, people.
If I'm told by my wizard, there's a prophecy that a baby's going to be born, it's going to overthrow you. It's like, okay, well, and then I guess I'm creating a social safety net. I guess I'm just making sure that every baby in this country grows up happy and that they all love me.
I'm going to be the nicest damn overlord there ever was.
Oh, my daughter's going to betray me? I better not do anything that would make my daughter want to betray me, like, say, murder her father by trapping him in stone and letting her get kidnapped and seduced by a guy with no shirt and extremely long hair. God. When the love dust first wears off and he's like, I don't love her, I hate her, she kicked me in the face. I'm like, oh, buddy, do I have news for you. Those are not mutually exclusive.
Yeah, I was a little worried at first, like, wait, does he really, genuinely fall in love with her because of the dust? Because that might be a little iffy, but I don't know. I kind of go by like what they do in Journal 3, Gravity Falls, where it reveals that if you still like someone after it supposedly wears off, then it was meant to be. So
yeah, with the way he was acting, it kind of feels more like inhibitions were lowered than anything else. But you kind of get the feeling that after the love dust wears off, it becomes much more Han and Leia. It becomes much more, oh no, this woman can beat the shit out of me. I'm in love.
Oh yeah, there is definitely that Han and Leia dynamic with them. And I guess that makes Willow weak.
and it doesn't get made weird by a love triangle that then gets resolved by Sweet Home Alabama.
Huzzah.
I'm on the record as saying I would have shipped Luke and Leia right up until the reveal and then been horrified.
Well, how do you think the people watching the original Star Wars trilogy felt about that?
Exactly!
Especially, yeah. Mm-hmm. I know, that's going to be tough, especially if you're one of those few people who actually didn't like Empire Strikes Back when it came out. It's like, no, it messed with canon, it all like all the complaints that people have about the prequel trilogy and then the sequel trilogy have now.
Well, I mean, we can certainly talk about that more at a later date, but for now, let's quickly ask, is the Force with it?
I say yes. This is a very entertaining, charming, well-made film, and I regret not having seen it much sooner. Like I said, I would have loved this movie if I saw it when I was a kid, and now it's kind of become a bit of a comfort movie for me, so I recommend it.
I also agree that The Force is with Willow. It is a wonderful film. It is a rip-roaring yarn, if you want to describe it that way. Really just wonderful cast. Warwick Davis at 17, holding this movie together, just doing a great job. Val Kilmer at his most charismatic, that smile. Of course, the evil overlord's daughter is going to fall for him. Everyone is great in it. Beautiful cinematography, exciting action sequences, really nice world building done with relatively little time to do it, and ultimately, like, just a really great fun time. Perfect family fare, great mix of excitement and laughter and unadulterated nightmare fuel. What more could you ask for in a kid's fantasy movie?
3 Wilhelm screams, and we got him, which is part of why I also say Force is with it. I love this movie. I love the sequel series. I love this world. If I ever become confident enough in my DMing, I will try to run a Willow campaign. Elora Danan will be my DMPC. I will not be taking further questions at this time. All right. Who has Pluggables?
You can find me on Blue Sky. I am at Young Mr. Duffy. You can also find the many strange and lovely games that I and my wife Katie have written over the years. If you've ever wanted to play an old lady trying to solve problems in a town, you can do that. If you've ever wanted to play a goblin breaking into a castle just to eat the hero's cake, you can do that too. We release games under Third Country Press. You can find us on itch.io, and you can also hear us every Thursday on BFF.fm. We do Third Country Radio, where we pick a theme. Might be a musical genre or an artist or just whatever's on our mind that week. And we play music and we talk and we have a really good time.
I have a picture book coming out. My very first one I've illustrated. It's called Ava's Chalk by Jeanette Vasari Jones. It's going to be published by Ever Imagine Press. Should be coming out very soon, hopefully. I run a YouTube channel called The NFIT where I mostly post random videos, and if I may, I would actually like to plug my girlfriend's show. She recently posted the pilot to her audio drama, Beast City. Yeah, if you love Zootopia and Blade Runner, you will love this series. The pilot just came out this week, and it's intense, it's exciting, it's creative, the characters are great, there's some twists that you won't see coming, and I guarantee you will probably enjoy it. It's on YouTube, on her channel, Mad Kitsune Productions. So go check it out.
And in the spirit of Star Wars, to be there for the people who need us, this episode is spotlighting Alute Sige, Mothers Fighting Family Separation. As attacks on immigrant communities in the United States of America continue tearing families apart, Alute Sige is working to support the parents in Nashville, Tennessee who no longer have their primary earner to help pay for things like rent, groceries, and utilities. The link can be found in the description, as well as on my various socials at Demisem. Our theme music is provided by Refractory Period, the 2 girls, 1 beat synth-pop sensation. You can follow them on Instagram at Refractory Period, the band. To further support this podcast, please subscribe to us on your platform of choice, leave reviews, and share with your friends to boost our visibility, and consider joining our Patreon. This is normally the point where I would be pulling out the chance cube and we'd be figuring out what happens next, but as it happens, our next episode will be dropping on May the 4th, which means it's time for a Star War.
Ooh, so we're starting the sequel trilogy?
Well,
We've done the original trilogy. We've done the prequel trilogy. Isn't the sequel trilogy the next logical step?
I mean, from a certain point of view, you're right, that does make logical sense, but, given certain circumstances and, certain releases and Dave Filoni...
Sam?
Yeah?
What did you do?
Picked up a 14-year-old sidekick wearing clothing that is definitely not appropriate for a 14-year-old to be wearing.
I'm the new Padawan learner. I'm Ahsoka Tano.
We're gonna do the 2008 Clone Wars movie. Okay, see you next time. Stay safe, stay strong, stay beautiful, and may the Force be with you. Bye!